Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today we'll continue with our series of Excel challenge, and these challenges are gotten from Excel BI LinkedIn page. If you want to really improve on your Excel skill, I will advise you follow Excel BI LinkedIn page. So let's get started. Before I start, I will say please kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel and also hit the notification button so you can be notified whenever we produce a new video. Kindly also like our videos and share with others. So let me read the question. For the given color bands in column D, work out the total resistance. Color bands have color codes given in column B. These are the color codes. They are assigned values through 0 to 9. So these are the values assigned for these color bands, color codes. Red, orange, and green is written as RE, OR, and GR in color codes. Last color code is for how many times zeros will appear. So, example, red, orange, and green is equals to RE and OR, which is 2 and 3. So, RE is 2, orange is 3. Then the last one is green. So, meaning we have how many zeros? Green is 5 zeros. So we have 5 zeros after 2 and 3. So this also another example here. So if you are a science student or you have a science related background, you understand that resistors are usually labeled, or the value of resistors are usually known by its colored bands. So the first set of colors aside the last one represent the values, while the last one represent the number of zeros you add to the color. So if you look at this, like this expected answer for this one, you have BR, which is brown, that's why you have 1. You have RE, which is 2, that's why you have 2. And BL is black, so you have 0, number of 0. So that's why there's no 0 here. So let's try and solve this question. Okay, let's start. So let's move our question out of the way. So yeah, we need to split all this into pairs of number. So what can we do to split it with pairs of number? We use our mid function. Our mid function detects where do you want to start from. If you are starting from you want to pick the first pair, and we pick 2 number of characters. So we see you pick BR, which is the first set of color code. And if you want the second set, you can change this one to 3. Our start number to 3. So how do we make sure we can pick all of them at the same time? We can use our sequence function to generate a series of number. So let's use sequence function combined with the length. Because we want to generate series of number, here we need 3 numbers. That's 1 to start from the first one, to start from the third one, and to start from the fifth one. So how do we know that? We can use our length function with our sequence function. What is the length of this? And it's showing us that the length of this text is 6, but we only need to generate 3, which will be half because it's in pair. So we can easily just divide the length by 2. When we divide the length by 2, we generate 3. But here you can see it's generating it will start from 1, 2, and 3, but that's not what we want it. We want it to be 1, then the next one will be 3, then the next one will be 5. So how do we do that with our sequence function? Here you don't select you are not picking your column. You leave that. The start should be by default, which is 1, so you don't need to specify that. Then the number of steps, so you want it to take 2 steps after the first count. So when you specify that, you will see it will pick it. So it's 1, 3, and 5, and this is what we actually need for our for the start point of our mid function. So let's place it here. The start function. And you can see we've been able to pick the first 3. We've been able to split the color bands into the color codes. So if you copy this, let's copy this and test it with another one. Let's test it with this. So you can see it has splitted all of it. So it means our formula is working correctly. Okay, now that you've been able to split this, How do we now compare it with this number? How do we equate it to these numbers? One easy trick to use here is we can use our XMATCH to know, since this is arranged uh, sequentially, like from 0 to 9, they follow each other in the number series. So we can use our XMATCH to know where all these color codes are within this array. We have 10 of them. You can use your XMatch to know where they are in this array. So how do we do that? So let's use our XMatch. You can also use your match function. So what are we looking for? We are looking out for this value within this array. So we are looking out for what our main function has given us within this array. This is our array. So let me put an absolute reference. And how do we want it? We want an exact match of it. So let's get that. So if you look at it, the first one here is BR, which is brown. Brown is number 1. But if you look at what is giving us, is number 2 is on the number second row here. That's what it's saying. While your red is on the third row here, and your black, which is BL, is on the first row. So since black is 0, which is just before it, so what we just need to do is this function will subtract 1 from it. When you subtract 1 from it, to give you the exact match for all of them. So if you copy this and paste it anywhere else, it will do exactly the same thing. So it will give you the exact match of this one. We'll be able to compare our color code with this number for us to be able to use to match it. Is how do we now combine these numbers and get the number of zeros that we'll put at the end? That will be our next step. So before we combine this number together, we have to separate them into 2 sections. The section before the numbers before the last one, which we are going to concat together, and the last number, which we are going to use to specify the number of zeros. So because we want to separate this and want to use it and don't want to use an helper row, so what we do is we have to use our let function to hold what we've just calculated in. So let's the name. We can give it any name. You can give it A, you can give it B, you can give it code. Just give it any name. So I'm naming A should be equals to the whole of this. So if I want to see if I did my let function correctly, then I'll call my A within my let function and I have it. So if you see what I have done here, in the let function, I've named the whole of what we just calculated. I've named it as A, so I can use A in my calculation within my formula. So the next thing I want to do is I want to take, I, I, I want to get the one that, the section of the number, the first section that doesn't have the last number. So what we do is, okay, so let that section be B. We are naming it as B. So how do we use? We can use our drop function to drop the last number from A. So you say drop. Where is the array? The array is A. What are we dropping? We are only dropping the last row of the number, the last row. So we use -1, which will specify the last row. And let's see if we are dropping the last row. Let's call our B. Let's see if our B is correct. So we can see we've dropped the last row. B is now the first 2 number here. If we go to any of the other cell, let me just copy this and put it in any of the other ones. You will see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll pick the first 4 and we'll drop the last one. So the next step now is to take the last number that we want to use to specify the number of zeros. So how do we take that? We use our take function. So we'll call that, let's name that C. So let's use our take function, take. what are we taking? We are see what array are we taking something from? The same array, which is A that we have worked on. Then what do we want to take for it? We want to take the last row from it. So let's call it out. See, let's see if we have been able to take the last row, which should be 0 in this case. So yeah, we've been able to take the last, which will be 0. So, but if we copy it down, let's copy it down to this. Let's copy it down to this place. You see, you've been able to take the last one, which is violet vi 7, but you've not been able to specify the number of zeros you want. So now what we do is we specify the number of zeros we want by using our rep function, repeat rep function, which means repeat. So repeat, what do we want to repeat? We want to repeat zeros. The 0 we want to repeat by the number of times. The number of times we want to repeat 0 will be what we take from from this array we've worked on here. So what we take from that array, we repeat 0 by that number of times. So our C now will be equals to this. So let's check what our C is now. So sorry, I didn't specify the last. I didn't close my bracket. So let me close my brackets once again. So I close the rep function here. Then we have it. So yeah, this one, you will see that now you didn't have any value here because we are repeating 0 times. So if I copy it to this line that we have 7, you'll see we have 7 zeros. So we have 7 zeros. So let's go back to where we are working on our formula. So now we have all set. What we now need to do is to specify what our output should be. Our output should be the concatenation of concatenation of our B and C. B and C. B is the first set of number before the last one, while C is the repetition of 0 by the number. So now you will see for this first one now you have 12. So now we can decide to copy our formula down. You can see it tallies with what the expected answers are. Or instead of copying it down, why not we just specify the formula in just one cell and let it spill over to the other one. And how do we do that? We can use our lambda function, and we use map as lambda function here. So let's use our map. The first argument of a map function is you specify an array. So this is the array we are specifying here, the array we want to work with. Then, comma, let's call our lambda. So our lambda now, you need to specify the parameter. So the parameter, you can give it whatsoever name you want. Let me call it x. So let me call it x. And what this means is your map is taking the whole of this array. Your lambda function will perform a calculation on each of these elements. That's row by row. It will be going row by row. So the lambda function, the lambda function will perform function on each of the elements to give you the answer. So everywhere we have D2 here, we change it to X. So we only have 2D2 and we've changed it to X, which is we're moving each row by row till we get to the last element. So let's close our lambda function and let's close our map function, and let's see. So now we have the results just spilled to the other cells. So this, why most people are encouraged to do your formula this way, is make your Excel file lighter and it makes it work faster. When you specify your formula in just one cell and you have it spill over to the other cells, it makes your Excel file very light and work very fast. So that's about today's challenge. We've been able to solve today's challenge, and you can see all the functions we've used. We've used X function, mid, sequence and length, drop and take, repetition. So we've used so many functions to achieve this. Thank you for watching today's tutorial. We've come to the end of today's tutorial. For more on Excel, and if you want to have more knowledge about Excel, please kindly subscribe to our channel so that you can be notified when we produce some other new educating videos. Thank you for watching. God bless.